Does anyone have a question?
Stuart,
Yes.
can you talk about as we're living our lives, we are always being held by higher energy or held by God as we're living our lives?
Can you repeat that?
Can you talk about that in this life we are always being held by higher energy, by God as we go through life?
The fact that we breathe, Larry, breath is life. Breath is prayer. Every time we inhale, we take in life. Every time we exhale, we let go of a part of ourselves. We have 8 billion people living in this world, all praying 24 hours a day. Very few people are conscious of this. See, the problem isn't that we're all in God's hands. Yes, we are. The problem is human beings and whether or not they've developed the consciousness inside themselves to sustain a connection with higher energy in the universe. It's just that simple mantra I always talk about, so hum. That Hindu mantra that used in India, Nepal, and where every time you inhale, you say so. Every time you exhale, you say hum. So when you inhale means I am. I am taking in all of life. Hum when you exhale, that I am one with everything. Every human being is one with everything. Every living creature on the planet Earth is one with everything. So the problem is not being one with everything. The problem is consciousness, developing within ourselves the capacity to stay connected with that higher energy, to be able to open ourselves inside, to surrender all the blocks and the limitations within ourselves, and allow that higher energy to nurture us. This has to be a conscious act. It's not something that we take for granted. It's something that we need to work on. It's like a covenant we make with God. We have to do that work. If we don't do that work, what exists in us is tension, negativity, an inability to function, depression, unhappiness, misery. That's what exists inside a human being if they don't do the work on themselves. Not necessarily the work we do here, but some form of inner work that develops a system inside that enables the human being to be connected consciously to higher energy in the universe. Yes, God, the world is a creation of higher energy in the universe. And yet, the marvel, the miracle of it is that it's constantly there showing us this, and we take it for granted. We just assume. And of course, once you begin to assume, it's the pathway to living an unconscious life. I mean, look, in the Jewish religion, there's a prayer for everything. I mean, look, it's really true. Every little thing, there's a little prayer, bread, wine, this, that. I used to go to Passover ceremonies, with my family, and everything had a prayer. And I never could understand why, but it's part of that Kabbalistic understanding of life that everything is sacred. Everything's sacred. Everything is a gift that's given to us. And what we have to learn is how to use that gift consciously.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome, Larry. I mean, this is not difficult to understand. This is very difficult to do, but it's not difficult to understand what I'm talking about. It's difficult to do because we're up against, as I say all the time, our worst enemy, and that's ourselves. We keep these things from happening, from becoming conscious. There's a wonderful Japanese Zen expression that I really love. I think I used it somewhere in one of my books. Before enlightenment, carrying water and plowing the fields. After enlightenment, carrying water, plowing the fields. And the meaning is very obvious. What you carry water and plow the fields unconsciously, or you carry water and plow the fields consciously. That's really the meaning of that. But it's the same activity, except it becomes sacred. And why does it become sacred? Because people do it with consciousness. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? And I think every act that we do in life is that way. We do it consciously or unconsciously. And if we do it consciously, it's truly in the service of a higher force of energy in the universe, which transforms us inside because we begin to see the world differently. Does anyone else have a question? Bob, you don't have a question? Come on.
Stuart, I have a question.
I thought so.
Okay, so you brought up this piece of this word, enlightenment, and um, I understand the definition of it, but it's like, does anybody know that they are or are not?
They don't know. They really don't know this. In your mind, you do not know this. You live that way. Your every activity during the day is one of a person who has developed higher consciousness, enlightenment, but you don't know it. And because you cannot dissect it in your mind and bring it down to your level of understanding, it becomes an extremely powerful way to live. You are one with everything.
How would you know you are one with everything?
You wouldn't. Why would you want to know this? I just live. It's like those two drunken guys, and I always used to see in Zen paintings. I mean, they were just sweeping the floor. The floor was sacred. The broom was sacred. They didn't know they were enlightened. And when the time came for them to choose the new abbot for the monastery, the only two people that were living in the light of Zen were these two monks who would, I mean, they always painted them. They looked like two drunken fools, sweeping the floor, doing this, serving everybody.
So it's a doing.
Yes, it's a doing, it's a living it. Because who can ever understand the workings of higher energy in the universe? It's impossible. It's beyond all human comprehension. But we can be fed by it. We can open inside and receive that wisdom, that knowledge, and allow it to guide our lives. And as soon as we try to dissect it and explain it and give it some kind of logic, it's all over. It's all over. Because then we bring it down to the 5 or 10% of understanding that human beings have. We limit it to our understanding, but it's a living reality. And how does it become a living reality? We need to work on ourselves to open inside, to build a system that allows that energy to guide our lives. We become children of God, kind of a wonderful thing.
So we're working on one level, we're working to be enlightened, but then in the end, it's none of our business.
Excuse me?
It's just a doing. It's just a doing. It's
Yeah,
not our business.
I've been living, being. It's being. To be or not to be. Hamlet thought not to be was dying. It is. As soon as we stop being, we're living death. We become living death. And when we are, it's this incredible wisdom and knowledge, this energy that emanates directly from the source of all creation. It guides our life. It's the energy that's created the universe, the world, everything. It's the energy that's created the greatest music, the greatest art. I mean, I said it 100 times. I'll say it again. It was like Bach when he was dying. All the people were lamenting and crying, Johann, why are you leaving us? And blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I think he had 18 children. They were all there with tears and crying. And he looked at them and said, why are you all upset? I'm just going to the place where the music comes from. I mean, when I read that, I mean, it went right through me. It was extraordinary. I'm going to the place where the music comes from. We are born from that place, and when we leave, we go back to that place. And it depends on what we learn between birth and death, how evolved the soul becomes to whether or not we ultimately enter a state of enlightenment. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
So, Stuart, I have another question. So, if somebody says, "Well, I'm enlightened," that's not possible.
It's
That
what I would suggest if somebody ever tells you they're a perfectly enlightened master, I would run in the opposite direction. That's what I would suggest. Go in the opposite direction. You know, all these avatars and people that make these proclamations, it's all a bunch of ego. Enlightened people don't even know they're enlightened. They just live that way. And they don't have to impress the world with their enlightenment. They live that way. And they don't go around. I mean, I remember in Kathmandu, at Pashupatinath, there was a guy who had a house there, and on the front of the house, he had a sign saying "Saint." This guy, and he's sitting in front of the house smoking ganga, and he became a saint. I mean, it was I'll never forget that. And then we used to go there to Pashupatinath and do meditation. It's a very powerful place, extraordinary Shaivite temple. And all these Nagababas, these guys with the matted hair and you know, they would all sit there and watch us. They would just sit there and watch us. It was extraordinary. And I have a picture right here of me sitting in the midst of them, and but I'll never forget Saint. And the incredible thing about that is if, to be a saint, you've got to surrender your sainthood. It's really true. You got to surrender your sainthood. Got to be nothing, a child of God with no label.
Thank you, Stuart. Very good.
You're welcome, Bob. You're welcome. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Thank you both for those questions. It really opened places very deep in myself, and I just have a lot of gratitude. Thank you. Okay, if there are no more questions, there will be meditation tomorrow, both at 1 o'clock, my time, Eastern time, and 7:30, Eastern time. And, Pat will teach the 7:30 class. And I'm looking forward to seeing you. God bless you. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.